Guys, let's stick to one ground rule, okay? When I am talking, it's only I. So please, all of you, if you could mute. Okay, right now I'll mute all. Uh, Only when I ask you something, please unmute and answer. Okay, so let's get back to the lecture. Uh, I was telling you, like how some of you said, instructions are step-by-step process to prepare a thing. It is, but then we need a format too for instruction. Now, like how you said, it is instructions are written to orient a user on how to operate or use a particular device, a particular thing, or it could be also a recipe. Now, we also have target audience for this. Now, target audience again varies on the product that you have prepared, the product that you want to give an instruction about. So here you would have layman and expert. Now, target audience is not just for instructions. Target audience is also for your technical description. I'm sure ma'am would have told you about that. So depending on the target audience, you also have to rephrase the words that you're going to use in instruction. Now, if it's an expert that you're writing to, then all these technical jargons can be introduced into. But if you're writing it to a layperson, ordinary person who has absolutely no knowledge of using this previous, then I think you will have to, never with instructions, never take anything as understood. Like, for example, if you're giving an instruction for using a particular device, first thing would be to plug it. So the first instruction would be to plug your device. Okay, you can always tell me, ma'am, that is common sense. Everyone has to plug the device. No, for a layperson, when you're writing it, that would be the first instruction that you're giving them. So depending on the audience, depending on the target audience, you will have to rephrase your instruction. And of course, instruction would fall into a format. Now, instruction cannot be written as a paragraph. Now, you can write not instructions as a paragraph, but then a process analysis as a paragraph. Because if you go back to the different kinds of paragraphs, you have descriptive, you have narrative, you have, you have cause effect, you have compare contrast kind of a paragraph. So if you go back to the kinds of paragraph, one of those paragraphs is also process analysis. Now, process analysis is again a step-by-step process, but then there what happens is we would not number it. We would write it as a paragraph as such. But here we are not asking for a process analysis kind of a paragraph, but instructions. So instruction again would fall into the format. The next few slides would be talking about that. Now, how do I start an instruction, children? Anybody? How do I start an instruction? Is my pace okay?
Ma'am, first
Am I
by
heard?
giving precautions like that.
Okay, okay. Is my pace okay?
Yes, ma'am, it's absolutely fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Uh, see,
First, you'll get some details about the device, ma'am. Then you will have the user manual, like how to use them and all.
my child, I'm not talking about user manual instructions. User manuals, yes. User manual is extended instruction. Now, user manual can go from, say, a page or two pages together, right? If it's use of automobile, then you have a book. So I'm not talking about user manual as such in specific here, but a small instruction, let's say a page instruction, let's say some 10 steps. Yeah. So how do we start it? How do we start an instruction? Anybody?
First, tell about the components.
I think you're still in the hangover of technical description.
Ma'am, will tell them
start with it, ma'am. The first instruction
Okay.
is to begin with that task.
Okay. Okay.
Heading, ma'am. Proper heading.
Exactly. I was just looking for this one. A title, isn't it? You need a
Yes, ma'am.
title for the instruction. So start with the title. Okay. So how to write instructions? Now, I think how to write instruction in itself is instructions. So keep it precise and concise. Yes, because if you're writing it for a lay audience or an expert in that case too, you will have to keep it short, keep it keep it in short sentences, because just imagine if it is too long sentences, by the time I reach the end of the sentence I might have forgotten what I read at the beginning. So keep it precise, keep it concise, know your audience. We did talk about knowing our audience, whom you're writing to, if it's a commoner or if it's an expert. So depending on who you're writing to, you will have to rephrase it. Give a title. You to start with the title. So the title would tell you what the instruction is all about. So you start with the title. Start with an introduction. We need to start with an introduction. So introduction, a small introduction. When I say introduction, it is not a big paragraph. It's a small introduction about what your instruction is. For example, okay, let us say that I'm sure now. I don't know how many of us use the ATM machines at all now. But then there was once, it was very popular. You just go to the ATM center. Now that you make online payments, you have mobile with you. It's easy in a way. But if at all I have to ask you to write an instruction on how to withdraw cash from the ATM machine, what do you think would be the introduction to that? Anybody? What do you think would be the introduction to how to withdraw cash from the ATM machine? Have you all done that at all? I think yours is another generation which wouldn't have seen
Yes,
the
ma'am.
ATM machines. Okay, that's good. Good to hear that you have done it. Yeah. Tell me, what
First
would
of
be
all,
the
we insert
introduction?
a card. That is the ATM card.
Wait, just hold on. That is you've already started the instruction. You've already started the process. I'm talking about introduction and still an introduction. I've not come to the process as such.
Ma'am, you have to
Ins-
describe what it
Instructions
does.
to withdraw the cash
Okay,
from ATM.
okay. Say what it does. So, would you say that it is a card which is used for withdrawing cash, and then you know some things that you need to talk about as a part of introduction? Keep your pen ready before you enter the system.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, keep the pen ready. Then, what else, children? Then do we just start with the process?
Ma'am, also like precautions like nobody should see the numbers and CVV such as.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so maybe that would come under precaution. So as a part of introduction, what you can say is go to the ATM center with a card and also the PIN that is given from the bank. If you're using it for the first time, children, we must have used it teen times, right? So for us, it would be, I mean, if I have to tell you, go with a card, you can tell me, ma'am, it is obvious. But then for the person, I still remember using it for the first time way back in 2003 or 2004. I'm not sure when. I think you were just babies then. Yeah, so the first time when I had to use it, I got all confused. So there was a security person and I had to take his help to use it. But then after that, it's been years now using it. So today, if I have to write, I shouldn't be writing from what I can do today, okay, how I see it today. What I should be doing is how I saw it for the first time. Do you get that, children? So you should be that detailed. Detailing is needed. Okay. And then, yeah, and anything else?
Ma'am, at that time, they were used to keep the card in the door also, ma'am.
Yeah, that is, you have to enter the center with that slot that is allotted, right? Yeah, I remember that. You just insert the card into the slot that is allotted so that you get an entry into the that center, right? And when you have to get out of the center too, you have a button to press where you have to press the button and then the door opens. It was all, yes, I remember. Is that what you were trying to tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Uh,
Ma'am,
yes,
a
yes.
person should also be knowing whether to withdraw from the current account or savings account. Is that an instruction, ma'am?
Yes, that would be part of the instruction, not part of the introduction. That would be part of the instruction, because the moment you insert a card, then you have a lot of options given, then select that option, and then the next option comes. First is the language, and then you have what? I don't, it's been some time that I've used. First is the language, and then I think is your PIN.
No, ma'am.
What is it?
Payment
Okay.
options, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry. Payment options. Payment options?
Means we can check our balance and
Okay. The different options that comes. So whether
Ma'am,
it
it
is
depends on different
withdrawal.
types of ATMs, ma'am.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
ATMs will first ask PIN, some will ask on the last step.
Exactly. And these days, I think you just leave the card inside. There was a time when you have to just take out the card, right? These days, I think you have to leave the card inside till the entire process is
No,
over.
ma'am, two types also there, ma'am.
I think it's the opposite now.
Yes, ma'am, it's the opposite. We can remove the cards now, ma'am.
No, ma'am,
Is
but in
it?
Yes,
no,
ma'am.
ma'am, in few banks, we should keep like SBI,
Yeah,
we
ma'am.
have to
In
keep
few
until
banks,
the
it's there.
transaction.
It's still there, ma'am. The old.
Yeah, I know we can't just stick on to one, I think, these days. Yeah, so one process wouldn't hold good for all banks or all ATMs. Maybe we'll have
Ma'am,
to
we can take one precaution, ma'am. Like whenever it gives the money, we have to withdraw. If we take more time, it will again gets back, ma'am. That
Oh
amount.
yeah, that would be the last instruction that you have to give. Okay, that will be the last instruction that will be the last caution that you have to give them. So initially, if you have to introduce too many things, then it would be confusion. So one after the other. Okay. So I shall come to this example a little later. Let's finish off the format first. Okay. Then maybe we shall take the same example and work on it. What do you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So yes, and keep the text left aligned. Now, children, left aligned is for everything. Any technical document that you write, it has to be left aligned. Even your letters, your technical description, all that should be left aligned. Now, left alignment is, I think, a convenience these days because we use computers, we type it out. Initially, letters were handwritten. So when you handwrite the letter, you had spacing, paragraph spacing was there. Just to start a paragraph, you left some space and then you started a paragraph. Maybe that was to avoid that clustering. But these days, since we're using computers, we just give space between paragraphs. So everything has to be left aligned. Your instructions too should be left aligned. Okay. Mention the number of steps involved. So you can number the steps. See, please number the steps. Use numericals to number the steps. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if say 1 has subheading, then it will be 1.1. Now think if that 1.1 has a subheading, then 1.1.1. So it has to be that way. So mention the number of steps that is involved. This is important. Chronological sequence. What is chronology? What is chronology? I'm sure this word we must have used it in our history
A specified order,
classes.
ma'am.
Yes, yes. The order of occurrence would be chronology, right? Yeah. So here when I say chronological order, what do I mean?
There is a sequence in the order.
Sequence. Okay, it's a sequence. What comes first, then next, and then how do you move on to the move on in the order? Okay.
What do you
Yes.
mean by chronological?
Okay, if I have to go back to history, now when did we get our independence, my child?
August 15, 1947.
And when did our constitution come into existence?
January 26.
A date, anybody?
Jan 26, 1915, ma'am.
1949, ma'am.
Okay. And then Indo-Pak War?
71.
Okay. Indo-China War?
1972, ma'am.
Okay.
1971.
See, I don't know the dates. You can Google and just tell me. I'm just explaining what chronology is for him. Okay. Indo-China?
1962, ma'am. 1965, ma'am.
Okay.
62.
62, ma'am.
1962, ma'am.
I don't know. I really
62,
don't
ma'am.
know. Okay. So now from independence to Indo-China War, we did get the sequence, right, my child? Whoever has asked this,
Yes, ma'am.
that is chronology. Okay. That is why I said go back to your history classes. History classes must have taught you all these things, isn't it? Lot of numbers, lot of dates to by heart and mug up. Okay, so similarly here too, think that you're preparing some omelette. So how do you do that? You need to take a pan first, so sorry, egg first and the pan next, and then heat it up and then break the egg, right? And then you have to sprinkle all those whatever spices that you need on it, right? So that is the order, that is a sequence, that's a chronological sequence. Okay. Use either bullets or numbering, but I would prefer numbering, children. Bullets when you are typing it out, but when you're writing, bullets are difficult. You know, you have to keep designing one after the other, which I do not want. So
Ma'am, we can
use
use arrow
numbering.
mark, no, ma'am.
See, you can use an arrow mark, but then when you are talking about a subpoint, arrow can lead to a lot of confusion. So numbering would be better. Hmm? Numbering is
Means
also
like,
numbering also gives you that chronological sequence, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4.
means like for subheadings we can use numberings, and for subheadings matter we can use the arrow mark.
Are you a colorful person?
No.
Why do you complicate things, my dear?
Means
When
like
you're
for
writing
represent.
it, yeah. Tell me.
Just
Please
for
tell me.
representation.
Yes. But then don't you think when you're writing it out, numbering is easier?
Yes, ma'am. But we use numbering in both times, means it will be boring, ma'am.
Both times as in which both times?
Ma'am, means like for example, if we take 5 subtopics and we have to write number, then we have to name that 5 subtopics as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and under each subtopic we can use bullets now, like that arrow mark.
Yeah. Under say point 2, you have a subtopic. So you would say you would use an arrow. Okay. Under that subtopic, you have another subtopic. Just imagine you have another subtopic. So you need to bring in another arrow.
Another symbol, ma'am.
Different
Star.
one. Exactly. That is why. Why do you have to sit and think about which bullet I have to be using? Numbering would be easier when you write. Whereas when you're typing it out, of course, your Microsoft gives you a lot of options, or your iOS gives you a lot of options. Maybe you can use that, no doubt about it. But when you're writing it, let's stick to one, children. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's stick to one. That is numbering. Let me make it very clear. Numbering. When you're writing it. But when you're typing it out, fine. You can experiment with different bullets that your computer offers to you. Your operating system offers to you rather. Okay, start with a verb. What is this? What is this? Start with a verb. Start an instruction with a verb. Now, why should I start an instruction with a verb?
It is a process, ma'am. So
Yeah.
starting.
Yeah, it's a process. That is why we need to start with a verb. Could you give me examples?
Ma'am, like take the objects or do the work.
Take
Like
the pan, break the egg, toss the egg in the pan, move the omelette to the plate, have it gleefully. Okay, so you always start with a verb. We start with a verb because we assume that the person would be reading the instruction and then he would be doing it, right? So always start with a verb. Use imperative sentences. Now, what are imperative sentences?
Order.
Yeah, like I
Like
said, take the
commands.
pan. Yes, take the pan, break the egg. These are all imperative sentences. So try using imperative sentences in your instruction. Now, imperative sentences would make it very direct. Okay, don't give too long sentences or don't arrive at the instruction after giving me flowery words. No, avoid all possible flowery words that you can use. See, you're not writing a literature answer. It's a literature answer would appreciate high sounding and then some kind of a bombarding word, a flowery language. But then technical writing, technical correspondence would not encourage flowery language. So always make it simple, short and straightforward. Add cautions and warnings either in the beginning or whenever required. Now, this is important. Either you give me a set of cautions at the beginning. You have the title and then you have the introduction. Just after the introduction, give me the set of cautions and warning. Or else, just before a particular operation is done, just before you move on to the process. Now, sometimes this is important because it can also be fatal when you are with electronic devices, electrical devices. See, this can be fatal if you do not include cautions and warning. So either you include all the caution and warning right at the beginning or when the process is on. Now, the caution and warning has to be included before it is done, not after. Do you get that? I mean, that I think that common sense should work. It should always be included before it's done, not after, because after the person might not be there to even, read that caution in case if it is fatal. Do you understand? Got it, children? Children? Am I
Yes,
here?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So caution, avoid addressing the reader throughout. I know that you needn't usually say you. It's too much of cumbersome. The same word, the second person being used all throughout. That's not needed. Maintain the font and the font size throughout. This is when you are typing it out. See that it is in the same font size, same font type. Do not experiment with too many font types and sizes. See, that looks very casual. Any technical document has to look formal. So font size, font type, the type of font that you use also makes an impression. Just imagine you use all those curvy fonts. But people won't be able to read out things clearly. It has to be a font type where every single letter from the word is read out, correctly, or at least is visible. I should not struggle to read things with the kind of font type that you use, and font size too. Yes, not too small a font size where I have to really struggle to read it, or not too big a font size where it just pops up on my face like that. It shouldn't be that. Next, use connectives for clarity. See, use connectives for clarity. Yes, for me, what I would say is when you have step by step and when you're starting with a verb, that in itself should be enough. But then in case you need connectives, then maybe you can use connectives too. Next, after, and then final, and then at the end. These are all connectives that are used to move on to the next step. Now that happens with the process analysis kind of a paragraph too, because in a paragraph, how do we move to the next idea? So you use a connective and move to the next idea. So here I don't think too many connectives are needed, because it's very clear when you're numbering your instruction, it means it's the next process. It means it's the next instruction that you are moving to. Do not write 2 or 3 instruction in a sentence. Now this is something of you need to know. One instruction in one sentence flat. That is how it should be. Do not use too many, do not give 2 or 3 instruction in the same sentence. Now that would lead to confusion. Like I said, if I'm using it for the first time, I'll have to go back and reread it. Now if I have to reread it, then what's the point of you giving me an instruction? An instruction is a guide. So it has to be clear, it has to be short, one instruction per step. That should be enough. Close it with a conclusion. If at all you need a conclusion for this particular instruction that you are writing, then give a conclusion as well. Let it not be an abrupt stop. But then sometimes when the process gets over, now if I say toss it to the plate, it's understood that I'm going to have it. Toss the omelette to the plate. Okay, it's understood. So I don't think there you need to give an elaborate conclusion saying that, okay, then you have it gleefully and see the taste and all that. No, that's not needed. Okay, so depending on the instruction, now when I talk about the steps, I talk about everything. Okay, I would not give you particulars as to one would have, one wouldn't have. I would talk about the general format for instruction, but then you have to apply your discretion, and then you have to see whether which instruction needs what. So some instructions might not need a conclusion, some instructions might need a conclusion. So apply your discretion there. Okay, which needs and which doesn't want. Okay, so this is one small instruction that I have here. If one of you could read this out for me. Can one of you read this out for me, please?
Ma'am, shall I do it, ma'am?
Yeah, who's this? Tanisha.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay, guys, how many are you in the class? Roughly? 170?
Yeah, 170.
170, ma'am.
170, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm yes. Go ahead, Tanisha.
Yes, ma'am. Instructions to operate a Dell 4454 overhead projector. The UDEL 4454 overhead projector is used to project written or graphic material onto a screen or wall. Because of its capability to enlarge and project, the Dell 4454 is ideal for use in schools and business. Warning: the projector bulb heats up during operation. Do not touch. To operate the Dell overhead projector, follow these 8 simple steps. 1. Place
So,
the
Tanisha, hold on, my dear. So we have an introduction here. Okay, like how I said, the format follows with, you would have the title first and then the introduction, and then warning and caution, you can include it right in the beginning. Okay. Yes, Tanisha.
Yes, ma'am. To operate the Dell overhead projector, follow these 8 simple steps. 1. Place the projector on a level surface approximately 6 to 10 feet from a projection screen or blank wall. 2. Plug the power supply cord into an 110 volt 60 volt AC.
I do. That's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, AC wall outlet. Push the rocker switch to the on position. Caution: keep air vents uncovered to allow for proper cooling.
Okay. So do you see that each instruction has started with a verb? Do you see that? Each instruction is numbered and it starts with a verb. Okay, so start all instructions with a verb. Yeah, go ahead. Tanisha.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 4. Place the material to be viewed squarely on the projector's stage. 5. Adjust the height of the projected image by lowering or raising the lens head of the projector. 6. Rotate the focus knob for clear viewing of the projected image. 7. Push the rocker switch to the off position when you are through viewing your material. 8. Unplug the power cord.
Okay.
Following these 8 simple steps will help you use the Dell 4454 overhead projector. Disclaimers: this operating guide to the Dell 4454 overhead projector is included primarily for ease of customers' use. Service and application or anything other than normal use or replacement of parts must be performed by a trained and qualified technician.
Okay, so disclaimer here has acted as your conclusion. Okay, so guys, have you got a rough? Thank you, Tanisha. Have you got a rough idea now as to how to write instructions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So would you write an instruction for me now? I give you. See, it's 10:05 by my watch. So 10 minutes I give you. Just give me say 5 to 6 instructions, steps. I mean. Would you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Mom?
so yes.
Mom, what is a disclaimer, mom? Like, what exactly do we have to write over there, mom?
See, disclaimer again depends on, see, disclaimers usually come for these devices, my dear. Okay. But then if I have to ask you to write about how to prepare biryani, now what disclaimer can you write there?
Sorry, mom?
Now, disclaimers usually comes, usually you write these disclaimers with devices, not with all instructions.
Okay, mom.
Ma'am, so disclaimers aren't a necessity, no, ma'am?
No, of course not. Like I said, you have to go by your discretion. I mean, you will have to, what do I mean? You will have to think for yourself, like, which instruction needs what. Okay, so if you're talking about a recipe, do we need a disclaimer there? Maybe funnily you can add a disclaimer, no doubt, but do we need it there?
No, ma'am.
It's not needed there at all, right? So,
No, mom, what I'm asking is, what do we write in disclaimers, mom? Like, do we describe it, or do we write any caution, or do we instruct anything like that?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Come again?
No, mom. Like, when we are writing a disclaimer, what should we write in the disclaimer? This thing, mom. Like, do we describe it, or do we?
See, what happens is all these warranties. Okay. Um, what are disclaimers? What are disclaimers? Are you asking me what are disclaimers?
Yes, mom.
Okay. See, disclaimers can be all these. What do I say? In case if you are refusing to accept something, okay, or a legal claim. Yeah, see here what happens is they say that use a trained or a qualified technician. Okay, if at all you need a replacement or something, you do not do it for yourself.
Yes, mom. So.
Yeah, so that is what I said. It usually comes with all these devices.
Okay.
Which actually, see, these, see, there are certain things that limits your, what do I say, your involvement in it. Okay, you buy something, certain operations you can do it, but not everything.
So, mom, in disclaimer, we have to write
It is limiting your, what do I say, how much you can, with this particular product, how much of it you can be operating, and how much of it you cannot be.
Ma'am, it's just like a reminder, right? Like what we can, what we can't.
How do I explain it?
Ma'am, but disclaimer means in the before only they will tell them, ma'am, this is not to affect anyone's feelings. Like
Feelings.
Means in some shows or
Movies and all.
something, on the starting only they will give no.
Yeah,
No
that is
animals
what
are
that
harmed
is what
like that.
see, it's again. Okay, let's take a device. Okay, let's take a device. Now, with this device, there are certain things that only technicians can do it, right? Which would limit your obligations there, or which would limit your use of certain things there. So in case you go ahead and then you use it and then something happens to you, then you cannot claim for anything. Did you get that?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Means it's simply called dissolval, right?
Sorry?
Dissolval. Means
What is dissolval now?
means like denial of some responsibility or like that, ma'am.
Exactly. They would not.
Yes, ma'am.
They would not. See, they would only tell you these are things that you can do. Over and above that, if you have to do and something happens, they would not, you cannot claim for it. Those are disclaimers. This is all what you can do. Over and above that, you cannot. Like you said, maybe a denial, yes. Hope you guys understood. I don't know how to make it.
Ma'am, in
Clearly
Google,
see.
it's given that it denies something, especially responsibility.
Exactly. That's what I kept telling you. You cannot claim something. Say I lose my hand. Okay. I go ahead and do something more than what I have to do. Then I lose my hand. Now I cannot claim for it. Why did you go ahead to do it? Do you get that? You cannot. They would not be held responsible for it. That is the right word, I think. They would not be held responsible for it. Is that
Excuse
okay
me,
now?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, I have another doubt, ma'am. In the disclaimer part, can we add one more sentence, ma'am? That
Like,
if you get it done like repaired or serviced by some unqualified technicians or from some
oh
other
yeah,
third parties,
yes.
then the warranty would not hold or something like that.
Yes, that is again, yes. This I think it's a reminder for all of us. Yes. See, what happens is you will have to get it done by the authorized person only. If you have to do it from a local dealer, then that particular company from whom you have purchased, I don't think they would come for servicing at all. Even if they have to come for servicing, they would not be held responsible. That is there. And that I think often we have all come across that. So what we do is we take appointments only with the authorized dealers, right? If you have to get it done, if you have to get your repair done from somebody else locally, then these authorized dealers would get to know, and then they would not, you cannot claim for anything. You cannot claim for service, or you can't claim for all these warranties that they give you. Of course, no product comes with a guarantee. It's only a warranty. Yes, that also can be added as a part of disclaimer. That's a good point. Yes. Now, disclaimers would not be there for all the instructions that is given children. All the instructions that you write, it might not go with a disclaimer. Only a few. Okay, when you say movies, yes, maybe certain things that are shown in the movie, because movie, unless we say that it is based on real life, it is completely a fiction, right? So there too, they might not take responsibility if they have to hurt people's sentiments. Okay, anything else?
Ma'am, so just to say in one word, disclaimer means just you cannot claim anything. That's it.
That would be too blunt. Yeah, legally, yes. Legally, yes. You're not responsible for. Claim and disclaim. Just go by that word. Claim is to, you can always claim for things. Disclaim is you cannot. Okay. Anything else, children?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so quickly, if somebody now, I don't think I have time for you guys to sit and write it, but then the practice sessions would be taken up in your labs. So quickly, if somebody can tell me the format for instruction, quickly, certain things that you learned today in the class.
Ma'am, intro.
Okay, start. Who is this?
Harshavardhan, ma'am.
Harshavardhan. Do you start with the introduction first or a title first?
Title, introduction, and
Okay, what should be the title?
title for the specific like instruction, ma'am, like about what we are giving.
Okay,
Object.
okay, fine. Go ahead.
Instruction and introduction, then then start with the introduction, ma'am, like 1 to like bullet points, all those, and the conclusion.
Okay, one by one, if you can go ahead and tell me, please. You start with a title, then then a small introduction, and then
Instructions.
Numbered instructions.
Guys, what did I tell you? Where is the caution?
You can provide it in the instructions.
Yeah, we can provide it in the instruction, but then it's always nice to give it right at the beginning. Not all the caution, but then yes, 1-2 of them you can include it right at the beginning. Now, when you are including caution in between, so how do I know that it's caution?
Ma'am, it should be bold in letters, like differentiating with the letters, ma'am.
Maybe by giving a symbol or something.
Exactly. By giving a symbol. What symbol do you think we give for caution? Don't give me that skull symbol, okay?
Like a triangle.
Inflammable, something like a fire and something.
Yeah, that is what is.
Ma'am, will it be better if you differentiate it from the other letters, like bold, big, and
Fine. Fantastic, my dear. That is when you're typing out. But when you're writing, what would you do? Would you sit and design it?
We could use many symbols, ma'am. For example, if we have some heavy metals like lead, cadmium, etc. in batteries, so we do not show the recyclable symbol, but for biodegradable products, we show that symbol.
Yes.
So we can show it pictorically.
ma'am, or we can mention it a caution and can write it below, right?
Yeah, you can do that as well. You can say caution and you can write the instruction down. Or you can use that triangle with the exclamation inside. What is that called? I don't know what that is called. Maybe it's a caution
Isn't
symbol.
it caution symbol?
It's a caution symbol. Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe if there's another name to it, I do not know. I always thought it's as a caution symbol. So you can use that. That is to differentiate between what is caution and what is the instruction, the general instruction and the caution. Okay, so you have caution and then you come to writing the process. So while you write the process, you keep it chronologically, keep it in present tense. Should you keep it in present tense? What should be the tense of the sentence?
Present tense.
Yeah, it has to be present tense, yes. And then
Start with a verb.
start with a verb. Start with a verb. That's important. Start with a verb. Imperative sentences. Then
Ma'am, use connectors when it
use
required.
connectors when it's required. Yes. Then that should be it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think that should be it. Okay. Precise, concise, know your audience. Okay. Left aligned. Keep the text left aligned. Use
Font size, ma'am.
numbering, font sizes and font types if you're typing it out. Yes. Caution and warning required. Okay. And in case that you need a conclusion, you can use a conclusion there. Okay. That should be it, children. So any doubts here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Just give me a second. Let me try.